to your 5-minute Maximo coffee break.
In today's session, we're going to talk about and go through the necessary steps to upgrade your MAS Manage. Before we start, just a few things that you're going to need to have ready before you begin. You're going to need either Podman or Docker in order to run your MAS CLI container. You're going to require OpenShift CLI to be installed or access to your OpenShift dashboard. You need your credentials to log into OpenShift, as well as your MAS administration login page. And lastly, make sure that you have backups of your current Maximo Manage database, as well as backups of your OpenShift project for MAS. There are a number of different ways that your system can be patched. And the one that I'm going to go through today is simply showing you some of the methods or the configurations that you may want to control by enabling, disabling, in other words, automatic or manual. We're going to be using the MAS CLI to actually do the MAS Manage update. I'm going to start off with an OpenShift. I have my pods, deployments, and see the various pods. I go up into operators. I can see what installed operators I have. And I'm going to have my Maximo Manage, or if I go to my core, I have my Maximo Application Suite package. So let's just start off with the Maximo Application Suite, and I have a tab or a view here for my subscription. And in the subscription, it's currently set to automatic. Because in my case that I've installed MAS Manage through the MAS CLI, automatic that once it's triggered through MAS CLI, I can change this to manual. And manual basically will require an intermediate step where I would need to come in and acknowledge that I want to move forward with this install. So for the MAS CLI, for the purpose of this demonstration or this walkthrough, I will select manual back and we'll change the project back to manage. I'll go to subscription. And in this case, we're going to leave this update approval to automatic. One, I'm going to have to intervene. The other one, I'm not. In most cases, I would leave them as automatic. Right now, I'm on MAS version 9.11. The next step is MAS CLI. So here I have a terminal session. I've got Podman running in the background, so we're not going to go through the steps of setting up Podman. My Podman command to run. So from my MacBook, I need to make sure I specify the platform being a Linux AMD 64. This is actually one of the nice benefits of allowing me to run these AMD or Intel-based containers on a MacBook with a different chipset. And I'm going to pull the MAS CLI command. It's going to check to make sure that I have the latest install and then presented with the various commands that I want to run. And typically what I would do next, I can run my MAS update command or my MAS upgrade. But prior to doing that, I'm going to use the OC command to log into OpenShift. So I'm just going to copy paste the OC command to log into my OpenShift container. Now that I'm logged in, I can again run any of the commands that are in green here. I can run a MAS update or a MAS upgrade. You may ask yourself, well, what's the difference between this? A MAS update is to basically update to apply the latest patches and fixes that are released on a monthly basis to the current version. So in my case, I am MAS version 9 with Manage version 9. We're May 2025. At the end of June is when 9.1 comes out. Currently, I want to do a MAS update only because I want to patch my 9.0 release to the latest set of patches. Once version 9.1 comes out, I would do a MAS upgrade. Upgrade is to go from version to version, and update is simply to patch your current version. Because I've already logged in to my OC, my projects, and I run a MAS update, it's going to say, is this the connection you want to do? If not, I could have, if I didn't do the OC command previously, I'd have to provide my OpenShift container. I'm going to say, yes, proceed with this. It's now going to query and determine what do I have installed. It comes back, it sees the catalog that I've got installed, it sees the instance. I have a single instance installed, and it's going to patch me or upgrade me to 9.011, so I can, depending again, which patches I want to. It's already selected one for me, which is always the most current one. Now what it's doing is grab or look at the various dependencies, from a MAS Manage perspective, making sure Mongo, Grafana, Kafka, all the different requirements or prerequisites that are required to make sure that they're up to the latest versions, and it'll patch those. It comes back, it reviews your settings. Do I want to proceed? Yes, I want to proceed. And it's going to launch my update. So what this is doing in OpenShift is this is creating a pipeline. And in that pipeline, it's going to manage the prerequisites as well as all the patching. Our MAS CLI has kicked off the pipeline. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to pipelines and pipelines. I need to change the project to pipelines project. Here I can see it has already kicked off and started. I can see that there's a number of different steps that it's going through to check to make sure. Again, all the prerequisites. I can zoom out and see all the different components that it's going to install. If I jump to the logs, this is the place that I like to take a look at. Is I can see same set of steps, but I can monitor the logs as it's progressing and seeing where it's currently, if there's any errors or messages. But really, it's a monitoring event. So it's going through its prerequisites, it's updated the catalog, and now it's waiting. So it's looking for various checks, and it's going to check every 5 minutes to see how it's progressing. Now, you may remember that I mentioned that I configured the MAS subscription to be manual. So it's likely that it's waiting for an approval process. So let's go take a look. Let's go back to the installed operators, change that project back to my core project. Typically, you would maybe have one or more tabs open at any given time so that you can jump back and forth. I'm going to stay within the same browser. And here I can see that there's an upgrade available. I can select that or go into it. It's going to take me to that. I can preview the install plan. I'm going to approve this change. If I go back to my manage, I can see it's updating. The subscription of either automatic or manual is simply an extra step of protection. So you may want to do that. Maybe you want to start it off during the day, but wait till later in the evening or after hours to actually promote that. It's actually a nice safeguard protection for your environment to make sure that you're patching the right environment. You typically might have a dev, test, and prod. So let's go back to the pipelines. What it's going to do is continuously look, check, and then it's going to move forward. While this is going, in the background, the pods are being installed or software is being downloaded, installed, and deployed. And if you're really, really interested, you can go over to the workloads, go to pods, and look at either your core project or manage projects. So if you sort by create date, there are various containers that are being created and updated. In this case, licensing has been done, core IDP is being initialized. Each one of these are being updated in real time to that environment. That's really what's happening in the pipeline. It's monitoring that install and making sure that all the pieces necessary to function are installed. The update is progressing. We can see that a number of the prerequisites are now being updated. This instance does not have DB2, so hence why it was quick. Kafka is not installed either in this one. MongoDB is, so it's going to take a little bit of time. So we'll just continue to watch here and see this progress. The update is now complete, but, and I say but because there are actually additional processes that are running in the background. So from a MAS CLI and a MAS Manage, all the prerequisites and the images, again, the MAS Suite administration images, along with the Manage images, have been downloaded. So here are a few helpful links on how to obtain the MAS CLI and the IBM documentation about using the subscription channel method and how to upgrade or patch your Maximo Manage environment. I hope you found that informative and have a great day.